Well, hello, Stu.
Glenn, how are you?
Very good. We're not even going to have time to talk about Oppenheimer, which I'm so excited about. But I'm about 5,000 miles away from an IMAX, and I really want to see it on IMAX.
I have tickets tomorrow for 9:15 a.m., which is a prime time to go see a movie.
It looks so good.
Everything's sold out.
It looks so good.
Everything's sold out.
It's fantastic. All right, let me tell you, I guess something happened yesterday. I was watching the mainstream media, and I didn't see anything, so it must not be important. But Chuck Grassley came out yesterday and published an unclassified FBI document, which is from a confidential human source. And this is a trusted source from the FBI. This is something that the FBI said, we didn't have it. And then when they were pushed, they were like, well, okay, we have it, but we can't produce it. Why not? Well, it's in my other suit. So finally, even though the FBI would not produce it, Chuck Grassley had a copy of it, which is really interesting, isn't it? So Joe and Hunter Biden are involved with the Ukrainian gas company, Burisma, and this is a document from a confidential human source trusted by the FBI that shows exactly what was going on and how the FBI quashed a probe into the Ukrainian prosecutor general Viktor Shokin. Remember, do we have that audio by any chance, Sarah? It was the time when Joe Biden was over and he came back home and he was, I think, at the Council of Foreign Relations, and he brags, yeah, well, they had a really bad prosecutor over there, and I just told them they got to get rid of them. Otherwise, I'm not going to give them the billions of dollars. Okay, so here are the key takeaways. Burisma Holdings hired Hunter Biden to have his father protect the company. During the first meeting with a confidential human source, senior official Vadim Pojarsky reportedly stated that Burisma had hired Hunter Biden to, quote, protect us through his dad from all kinds of problems. In another meeting, the confidential human source conversed with the CEO, Zelenskyy, about President Joe Biden's recent declaration that Ukrainian Prosecutor General Viktor Shokin, who was investigating Burisma at the time, was corrupt and ought to be removed from office. He said in that instance not to fret about any of the adverse impact such a declaration might have on Burisma's prospects, saying, don't worry, Hunter will take care of all of those issues through his dad. Biden succeeded in getting Shokin fired. He said he was going to withhold $1 billion in loan guarantees. Then Burisma, through the confidential human source, said that they were afraid that Shokin's probe would stop its efforts to get publicly traded in the U.S. They were trying to merge with a U.S. company. They wanted to be publicly traded and make all kinds of money here in the U.S. They were trying to do all of this, and Zelenskyy said, this is going to screw everything up. And the confidential human source was told that if you just retain Hunter Biden, we retained Hunter Biden, so everything will be okay. Burisma also knew Hunter Biden had no experience, thought he was dumb, and sought additional counsel. During the confidential human source's first meeting with Burisma officials, the company discussed the composition of its board and the aid of the Bidens, to which the confidential human source questioned why they sought additional assistance. Pojarsky replied that Hunter Biden was not smart and they wanted to get additional counsel. That's a quote. During the conversation, the confidential human source advised him to at least hire more conventional U.S. oil and gas advisors, citing the Biden's lack of experience in the industry. Zelenskyy acknowledged the Biden shortcomings, then called Hunter stupid and suggested that the Burisma CEO's dog was smarter than the first son. Now, I just want you to know, we don't know anything about the CEO's dog. So that may not be such a slam. That dog, I mean, you can train a German Shepherd to find keys. I mean, you can't train him to lose a laptop, but you can train him to find keys. That's the truth. And so then the confidential human source testified that he believed the payments made to the Bidens were illicit in nature. The CEO dismissed the confidential human source proposal that they pay a lawyer $50,000 to litigate a case in Ukraine, an idea that elicited laughs from Zelenskyy, who quipped as to the expense of the related to paying the Bidens to handle matters. He said, quote, "It costs $5 million to pay one Biden, $5 million to pay another Biden." He then, the confidential human source, warned him against retaining Hunter Biden and not to make it an international incident of the Shokin case. Zelenskyy contended that it was too late to change course and that both Joe and Hunter had pressed him to keep Hunter on the board. "Don't worry, this thing will go away," the executive said. "It's too late. We had already paid the Bidens." Then the Burisma executive also said during a phone call, apparently there are phone calls, there are tape recordings of these conversations. I just don't know how the people in the press sleep at night. Your president has sold the country out. I remember when I was working at Fox, and this was a whole other era. It was 2008. And I said, President Obama is lying to you about this. And Roger Ailes called me into his office and he said, "Don't say that." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Don't say that the president is lying. You can use any kind of other language, but don't use that." And I said, "But it's true." And he said, "I know it's true. Everybody knows it's true." He said, "But people don't want to hear that their president is a liar. Soften the language. There's respect for the office of the president." I disagreed with him. I continued to call him a liar because he was, and maybe it was just a generational thing. But your president, and I can't believe I'm saying this, your president is on the take from foreign countries, one of which is our biggest enemy, China. The other one is the one that we're currently sending billions of dollars to. We're not tracking the money. We have no idea where that money is going to. It is common thought that we're losing at least 30% and maybe as much as 70% through bribery and everything else that happens over in Ukraine. So we are on the verge of World War III with a country, by the way, the guy who's on tape saying, "Yeah, we bribed the Bidens." He's now an advisor for the president of Ukraine. Does this not bother anyone in the press? I mean, I'll be honest with you, and if you've listened to me for a long time, you know this to be absolutely true. If half of this would have been found about Donald Trump, I would have been screaming for impeachment. Why is no one in the Democratic Party and no one in the media, do they not respect their own freedom and their own country enough? Are you that blind and stupid? What is it you're getting? What is it that you think is worth selling your country out for? Your president is not just a liar. There is good evidence now, and it is from the FBI. We have to do a lot more. But if this stuff is true, your president is not just a liar. Your president is a traitor to our country. That's not worth investigating. That's not worth looking into. That's not worth talking talking about? Are you kidding me? The FBI didn't investigate any of this. I'd like to know the names. I'd like to know the names of everybody who saw this and said we shouldn't investigate. This is from, according to the FBI, a trusted confidential source. The FBI, went to Russia to try to find the pee room on Donald Trump. This wasn't worth investigating? And by the way, I just have to point out, the investigative team and our head researcher, Jason Buttrill, is truly remarkable. We were ahead of the game by how many years? I mean, if you watched my show on the impeachment of Donald Trump and you saw our investigation into Ukraine, you know all of this. We showed you the documents. We were like the only ones at the time. You're not surprised by this. What is crazy to me is this is a surprise to everybody else now. My investigative team can prove much of this. What the hell are we doing? America, you have got to stand up. You have got to be screaming bloody murder. You have got to send a message to Washington. Enough is enough. And quite honestly, Democrats and independents, if you sit on the sidelines on this, may God have mercy on your soul. If we lose this country, which we are damn close to losing it, if we lose this country, you will forever be remembered as doing nothing when our nation was in its greatest peril. If we don't restore the honor and the integrity of our law and justice system and the integrity of our Oval Office and the presidency, if you can sell your country out and it doesn't matter to the American people, we are finished as a nation and we deserve to be finished.